The screens in the Global Defense Force Command Center blinked with red warnings. Commander James Wilson stood before the massive wall of displays, his hands clasped behind his back, as he watched dozens of unknown objects appear at the edge of the solar system. His face remained calm, but his knuckles turned white from gripping his own wrists too tightly. "Report," he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around him. "Sir, we're tracking multiple objects larger than anything we've ever seen," reported Officer Tom Baker from his station. "They're moving at speeds that should be impossible. The smallest one is about the size of Manhattan." Wilson nodded slowly. After 20 years in the Global Defense Force, he had trained for this moment countless times. But now that it was actually happening, the reality felt surreal. Humanity's first contact with alien life wouldn't be a peaceful greeting, it would be an invasion. "Send the standard greeting package on all frequencies," Wilson commanded, "and get me the president." The massive objects continued their approach, completely ignoring Earth's attempts at communication. Hours passed, and the tension in the command center grew thicker with each passing minute. Military bases worldwide went to high alert. Nuclear submarines surfaced in secret locations to receive new orders. Fighter jets waited on runways, fully armed and fueled. The president's face appeared on one of the screens. She looked as tired as Wilson felt. "Commander, what's your assessment?" "Madam President, they're not here to make friends," Wilson replied. "Their formation is clearly military. They're approaching in attack positions that match our own tactical doctrines. Whoever they are, they've done this before." As if to confirm his words, the alien ships suddenly accelerated. What should have been a day-long approach to Earth turned into minutes. Warning sirens blared throughout the command center. "All stations, battle positions," Wilson shouted. "This is not a drill." The first alien transmission came just as their ships entered Earth's atmosphere. It boomed through every radio, television, and communication device on the planet. The voice spoke in perfect English, its tone cold and mechanical. "People of Earth, we are the Dominion. Your world has been chosen for colonization. Your resources and strategic location make this planet valuable to our empire. Surrender now, and you will be allowed to serve as a worker class. Resist, and you will be eliminated. You have 1 hour to lay down your weapons." Wilson looked at the president's screen. She nodded grimly. "Commander Wilson, you have full authority. Show them humanity's answer." Wilson pressed a button on his console. "To all Global Defense Force units, execute Defense Plan Alpha. I repeat, execute Defense Plan Alpha. This is not an invasion drill. God be with us all." Across the globe, humanity's military forces sprang into action. Missile silos opened their massive doors. Fighter jets screamed into the sky. Naval vessels moved into strategic positions. But as the alien ships descended through the clouds, everyone realized just how outmatched they were. The alien vessels were beautiful in a terrifying way. Their hulls shimmered with energy fields that made them look like floating cities made of liquid metal. The smallest ship alone cast a shadow over New York City that plunged everything into darkness. Earth's first volley of missiles struck the alien shields and disappeared without leaving a mark. Fighter jets fired everything they had, but their weapons might as well have been paper airplanes for all the damage they did. But humanity wasn't about to give up. As the aliens began their attack, launching bright beams of energy that carved through buildings like butter, Wilson made a decision. He grabbed the global broadcast microphone. "To all humanity, we are under attack. But remember this, every invader in history who thought Earth would be an easy conquest learned a harsh lesson. We've faced impossible odds before. We've survived ice ages, plagues, and our own wars. We are humanity. We do not surrender. We do not give up. We fight. And to our invaders, know this. You didn't just attack some helpless planet. You attacked our home, our land. And that is the biggest mistake you could have made." The battle for Earth had begun. The world burned. 3 days after the Dominion's arrival, most major cities lay in ruins, but the aliens had made one crucial mistake. They expected humans to break. They didn't. Marine Captain Robert Taylor crouched behind a fallen concrete pillar, watching an alien patrol march past. Their armor gleamed in the morning sun, and their weapons hummed with strange energy. 5 of his best soldiers waited nearby, hidden in the rubble of what used to be downtown Boston. "Ready the trap," Taylor whispered into his radio. He had noticed something strange during the past few attacks. The alien shields flickered whenever they moved from sunlight into shade. It wasn't much, but it was enough. His team had spent the night setting up old air conditioners and heaters they'd salvaged from destroyed buildings. It seemed crazy, but Taylor had a theory about the alien shields. They hadn't failed against bullets or bombs, but maybe, just maybe, they couldn't handle rapid temperature changes. "Now," Taylor shouted. The trap sprung. Industrial heaters roared to life on one side of the street, while cooling units blasted from the other. The sudden temperature shift hit the alien patrol like a hammer. Their shields sparkled, flickered, and failed. "Open fire," Taylor commanded. Regular bullets tore through the now unprotected aliens. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity had found a way to hurt them. Taylor grabbed his radio. "Command, this is Captain Taylor. You're not going to believe this, but we found a weakness. Get me Commander Wilson. He needs to hear this." Miles away, in what remained of the Global Defense Force Command Center, Commander Wilson received Taylor's report with growing excitement. He immediately called an emergency meeting with all remaining military leaders. "Ladies and gentlemen," Wilson addressed the group through secure video links. "Captain Taylor's discovery changes everything. The Dominion's shields can't handle rapid temperature changes. We can hurt them. We can fight back." A scientist named Dr. Miller spoke up from her hidden lab. "Commander, if we modify our weapons to create extreme temperature variations, we might be able to consistently break through their defenses. Give me 48 hours." The aliens didn't stay quiet during those 2 days. They attacked everywhere at once, trying to crush the remaining resistance. But something had changed. Humans weren't running anymore. Every street, every building, every inch of land had to be taken by force. In New York, civilians created makeshift weapons using fire extinguishers and blowtorches. In Tokyo, subway workers used the underground tunnels to ambush alien patrols. In London, university students figured out how to jam alien communications using modified radio equipment. The Dominion commanders couldn't understand it. Their reports showed they were winning. Cities fell, armies were defeated, governments crumbled. But the humans kept fighting. Every victory cost the aliens more than the last. On the 5th day, Dr. Miller's modified weapons arrived at the front lines. Taylor's unit was one of the first to use them. The new guns fired special rounds that created instant temperature shifts on impact. When they hit alien shields, the barriers shattered like glass. "Push them back," Taylor shouted as his troops advanced through the streets of Boston. For the first time, the aliens retreated. Similar scenes played out across the globe as humanity began to turn the tide. The Dominion's command ship hovering over New York received urgent messages from all sectors. Their early reports had been wrong. Earth wasn't a soft target. These humans didn't break under pressure. They adapted. They learned. They fought harder. Commander Wilson stood in the remains of his command center, watching live feeds from around the world. He allowed himself a small smile as reports of successful counterattacks poured in. The aliens had superior technology, better weapons, and stronger armor. But they were about to learn what humans did best, turning weakness into strength, finding ways to win against impossible odds. The real war was just beginning. 3 months into the war, the Rocky Mountains had become humanity's greatest ally. Deep inside the mountains, Dr. Anna Miller worked in a hidden laboratory that once served as a Cold War bunker. Captured alien technology covered every surface, each piece carefully taken apart and studied. "Play the recording again," she told her assistant. On a screen, security footage showed an alien soldier stumbling during one of Captain Taylor's attacks. But Dr. Miller wasn't watching the shield failure this time. She was watching the alien's reaction to something else. "Stop there," she said suddenly. "Look at their movements when our emergency sirens went off. They're in pain." In another part of the underground network, Captain Taylor met with Commander Wilson. The resistance base sprawled through miles of natural caves and old mining tunnels. Thousands of people lived here now, protected by layers of rock that blocked alien scans. "Their attacks are getting desperate," Taylor reported, pointing to a map covered in markers. "They control the cities, but they can't hold them. Every time they send out patrols, we hit them with the temperature weapons. They're losing soldiers faster than they can replace them." Wilson nodded. "But it's not enough. We need something bigger, something that can help us take back our cities." He turned as Dr. Miller rushed into the room, her eyes bright with excitement. "Commander, Captain, I found something." She pulled up video footage on the main screen. Watch their reactions to different sounds. Their hearing must be incredibly sensitive. When we use certain frequencies, it causes them physical pain. The discovery changed everything. Within weeks, the Resistance had modified their sonic equipment to create weapons that could disable entire groups of aliens at once. They called it the Screamer. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A group of teenagers who had been hiding in their high school's music room reported that the aliens ran away when they tried to practice with their instruments. The specific combination of sounds from their band practice had created frequencies that the aliens couldn't stand. Dr. Miller worked day and night to perfect the sound weapon. She combined it with the temperature technology they already had, creating devices that could break alien shields and incapacitate the enemies inside them at the same time. Deep in the underground base, Taylor trained new recruits to use the improved weapons. "Remember," he told them, "the aliens think they're superior because of their technology. But we have something they don't. We know our planet. We know every cave, every forest, every building. This is our home, and we're taking it back." The Resistance grew stronger each day. Hidden tunnels connected major bases across the continent. Old subway systems became supply lines. Abandoned mines turned into training grounds. Humans had gone underground, but they weren't hiding. They were preparing. Commander Wilson stood in the main control room, watching dozens of screens showing Resistance activities around the world. London's underground had become a fortress. The Paris catacombs hid an entire army. The Tokyo subway system allowed rebels to move unseen across the entire city. "Dr. Miller's new weapons are ready for mass production," an officer reported. "The 3D printers are working around the clock. Every Resistance cell will have them within 2 weeks." Wilson smiled. The aliens controlled the skies and the cities, but they couldn't control what they couldn't see. And they couldn't see most of what humanity was doing. In her lab, Dr. Miller made another discovery. She had been studying alien biological samples, trying to understand why sound affected them so strongly. What she found would change the course of the war. "Their entire nervous system is different from ours," she explained to Wilson and Taylor. "They evolved on a world without our kind of sound waves. Earth itself is a weapon against them. They just don't know it yet." The Resistance had found its ultimate weapon. Earth itself would fight back against the invaders. Now they just had to figure out how to use it. Lieutenant Maria Torres adjusted her sound dampeners and checked her modified weapon one last time. Around her, 30 Resistance fighters did the same. They were about to launch Operation Thunderclap, the biggest attack since the invasion began. "Remember," she whispered to her team, "the new weapons combine both sonic disruption and temperature shock. One hit will break their shields and stun them. No alien leaves that command center alive." Above them, the Dominion's regional command center rose into the night sky like a dark tower. The aliens had taken over the old Empire State Building, turning it into their main control hub for the entire East Coast. They thought the height made them safe. They were wrong. Torres checked her watch. 3 minutes to go. Sound dampeners on. The Resistance had spent weeks practicing for this moment. Dr. Miller's latest invention protected human ears from the sonic weapons while leaving them lethal to alien nervous systems. Even better, they discovered that the weapons worked better the higher up they went. Something about sound waves traveling differently at height. 60 seconds. Torres counted down. Around the building, other teams waited in hidden positions. This wasn't just an attack. It was a message. Humanity was done hiding. Go. The attack began with a symphony of destruction. Modified speakers hidden in abandoned buildings around the command center activated all at once. The sound was too high for human ears to hear, but the aliens felt it immediately. Through her binoculars, Torres watched alien soldiers collapse, clutching their heads. Phase 2, she ordered. Her teams rushed forward, using grappling equipment to scale the building. The aliens had disabled all elevators and blocked the stairs, thinking it made their command center unreachable. But they hadn't counted on humans willing to climb 90 stories on the outside of a building. Halfway up, they met the first real resistance. Alien guards fired energy weapons from broken windows, but their shots went wild. The sonic assault had destroyed their ability to aim straight. Keep climbing. Torres shouted over the radio. They can't stop us now. Captain Taylor's voice crackled over the radio. Torres, you've got incoming. Alien aircraft approaching from the north. But the Resistance was ready. Hidden anti-aircraft guns, modified with the new sonic technology, opened fire. The alien ship's shields flickered and failed. Some crashed into empty buildings. Others retreated, their pilots unable to handle the sonic assault. Torres and her team reached the command center floors. They broke through windows, throwing sonic grenades that Dr. Miller had designed. The aliens inside never had a chance. Their own advanced nervous systems, so much more sensitive than human ones, became their greatest weakness. Command center secured, Torres reported, standing in what had once been the observation deck. Around her, Resistance fighters were already hacking into alien computers. You won't believe what we're finding here, Commander. In the underground base, Commander Wilson watched the operation's success on multiple screens. Similar attacks were happening at alien strongholds across the globe. London's Big Ben, now an alien communications hub, fell to British Resistance fighters. The Tokyo Tower, converted into an alien barracks, was captured by Japanese forces. Sir, an analyst called out, we're decoding their tactical data. The aliens, they're scared. Their reports show they've never faced resistance like this on any world they've invaded. Dr. Miller burst into the command center, her face excited. Commander, the data from their computers confirms my theory. Their entire species evolved in an environment without complex sound waves. Earth's natural sound spectrum is like poison to them. We're not just fighting them with weapons, we're fighting them with the planet itself. Wilson allowed himself a rare smile. Send word to all resistance cells. Operation Thunderclap was just the beginning. We've proven they can be beaten. Now it's time to show them why you never invade humanity's home. The tide had turned. The Dominion was about to learn that their greatest mistake wasn't invading Earth. It was underestimating the humans who called it home. Commander Wilson stood on the flight deck of the U.S. Freedom, watching modified F-35 fighters take off into the dawn sky. Each jet now carried Dr. Miller's sonic weapons alongside traditional arms. But today's mission wasn't just another raid. It was the beginning of humanity's biggest counterattack. All units report ready. Captain Taylor's voice came through the radio. His ground forces were hidden in positions around every major city. The aliens won't know what hit them. Lieutenant Torres spoke next from her position in New York. Resistance cells worldwide are in position. We're calling this Operation Earthstrike. The plan was bold but simple. While the aliens expected attacks from the ground, they never looked down enough. Resistance engineers had spent months digging tunnels under alien strongholds. Now those tunnels were filled with sonic transmitters powerful enough to shake buildings apart. All units, Wilson commanded. Operation Earthstrike begins now. The attack started with a rumble. Deep underground, thousands of sonic devices activated at once. Alien buildings began to shake. Their shields, designed to stop attacks from above and around, did nothing against the vibrations coming from below. In New York, Torres watched alien soldiers stumble out of their bases, disoriented by the sound they couldn't hear but could feel in their bones. Her teams were ready. "Take them down," she ordered. Resistance fighters emerged from hiding spots, armed with the latest weapons Dr. Miller had designed. The aliens, already weakened by the underground sonic attack, fell quickly. But the real surprise came from above. Wilson had spent months secretly retrofitting old space shuttles and passenger rockets with alien technology. Now, as the Dominion's ground forces struggled, humanity launched its first space attack. "Space Force Alpha, you are clear for takeoff," Wilson radioed. From hidden bases across the globe, dozens of hybrid human-alien spacecraft rose into the sky. Each one carried Dr. Miller's most powerful sonic weapons, designed to work in the vacuum of space by targeting the alien ship's hull resonance. The alien fleet orbiting Earth never expected an attack from such primitive vessels. By the time they realized the danger, it was too late. The modified ships released their sonic weapons, sending waves of energy that shattered alien shields and cracked their hulls. On the ground, Taylor's forces pushed forward into city after city. The aliens had built their bases assuming humans would attack like a traditional army. Instead, resistance fighters came from everywhere: sewers, subway tunnels, old basement networks. "They're running," Taylor reported as his team secured downtown Boston. "Their ground forces are retreating to their ships." Dr. Miller's voice came over the command channel. "Commander, the underground sensors are showing something incredible. The sonic weapons aren't just affecting their soldiers and ships, they're disrupting their entire command structure. Their communication systems are failing." Wilson nodded. "Push the advantage. All units, full attack." The battle raged across the globe. In Paris, resistance fighters drove aliens from the Eiffel Tower using sound cannons. In Cairo, underground sonic pulses collapsed alien fortifications built around the pyramids. In Beijing, modified commercial jets turned skyscrapers full of alien troops into thundering sonic traps. The Dominion's rigid military doctrine fell apart against human guerrilla tactics. They couldn't defend against attacks that came from above, below, and everywhere in between. Their sophisticated weapons meant nothing against humans who turned the planet itself into a weapon. "Sir," a communications officer called to Wilson, "we're picking up alien transmissions. They're calling for reinforcements. They're saying Earth is too costly to hold." Wilson allowed himself a grim smile. "Send this message to all human forces. The aliens thought they could take our world because they had better technology. They thought we would surrender because they had bigger ships. They were wrong. Earth isn't just a planet. It's our home, and we're taking it back." Across the world, humans cheered as alien ships began retreating from city after city. The war wasn't over, but for the first time, victory felt possible. Humanity had reminded the galaxy of an ancient truth: never underestimate those fighting for their home. Dr. Miller stared at her microscope in amazement. What started as a routine test of alien tissue samples had turned into the biggest discovery of the war. She immediately called for Commander Wilson and Captain Taylor. "Look at this," she said when they arrived at her underground lab. On her screen, alien cells were rapidly breaking down when exposed to common Earth bacteria. Their immune systems have no defense against our microbes. They've never encountered anything like them before. Wilson leaned closer to the screen. "Are you saying what I think you're saying? Earth itself is killing them," Dr. Miller explained. "Every breath they take exposes them to our bacteria. Their suits and filters catch the dangerous ones, but the simple, harmless bacteria that humans live with every day, their bodies can't handle them." Taylor picked up a fallen alien mask from her research table. So that's why they never take off their environmental suits. It's not just about breathing. They're trying to stay sterile. Exactly, Dr. Miller nodded. And now we know how to use it. Within days, resistance teams worldwide began targeting alien life support systems and environmental controls. Lieutenant Torres led the first attack on an alien base in Chicago, using modified ventilation systems to spread harmless Earth bacteria through their facilities. Base secured, Torres reported after the operation. They evacuated as soon as their sensors detected the bacterial spread. They didn't even try to fight back. The aliens finally realized the danger they were in. Their sophisticated shields could stop bullets and bombs, but they couldn't filter out microscopic life. Every alien soldier who had been exposed to Earth's atmosphere was getting sick. Their medical bays were overwhelmed. The Dominion's command ship sent an urgent message to their home world, planet unsuitable for colonization. Native microscopic life, forms lethal to our biology, requesting immediate evacuation protocols. But humanity wasn't done yet. Dr. Miller had developed a special delivery system, missiles that would burst in the upper atmosphere, spreading clouds of harmless bacteria that would stick to alien ships. Even their space vessels weren't safe anymore. Launch the biomissiles, Wilson commanded from the U.S. Freedom. Earth's combined naval forces had positioned themselves around the globe, ready to fire the new weapons. Let's show them another gift from our planet. The missiles soared into the sky, bursting into clouds that looked like beautiful auroras. Alien ships that passed through these clouds quickly found their hulls contaminated. Their crews began falling ill, even inside their sealed vessels. Captain Taylor watched from the ground as alien ships tried to avoid the bacterial clouds, their formations breaking apart. "They're starting to panic," he reported. "Their whole fleet is in chaos." In her lab, Dr. Miller monitored the effects. The bacteria are doing exactly what we expected. It's not killing them quickly, but they can't function properly. Their reaction times are slowing. Their judgment is impaired. They're making mistakes. Those mistakes proved costly. Alien ships collided trying to escape the bacterial clouds. Ground forces abandoned their positions without waiting for orders. The mighty Dominion army was falling apart. The resistance took advantage of every retreat. Cities were reclaimed one by one. Alien technology was captured intact as entire bases were abandoned. Humanity had found the perfect weapon: life itself. "Send a message to the Dominion Command," Wilson ordered. "Tell them this: Earth isn't just our planet. It's alive. Every microscopic piece of it fights with us. You didn't just invade our land. You invaded a living world that's part of us, and we're part of it." In orbit, the alien fleet began a full retreat. Their grand invasion had been defeated not by superior technology or stronger weapons, but by the smallest forms of life on Earth. The same bacteria and microbes that humans had evolved alongside for millions of years had become humanity's strongest allies. The war wasn't over. The Dominion still had forces on the ground. But everyone knew now what the outcome would be. Earth had shown its power. The aliens could either leave, or they could stay and face extinction on a planet that rejected them at a cellular level. The morning sun rose over Earth's cities, shining on broken buildings and empty alien bases. Commander Wilson stood at the same window where he had first watched the invasion begin, but now he was seeing something different. The Dominion's fleet retreating into space. "Sir," Lieutenant Torres called from her station. The last major alien ground force just surrendered in Beijing. They're requesting emergency evacuation. Their troops are too sick to keep fighting. Dr. Miller's bacterial weapons had proved more effective than anyone had imagined. The aliens couldn't even touch Earth's soil without their suits anymore. Their mighty army had been defeated by invisible enemies they couldn't fight. "Captain Taylor is reporting in from the field," an officer announced. On the main screen, Taylor's tired but smiling face appeared. "Commander," Taylor said, "you won't believe what we found in their abandoned bases. They left most of their technology behind. They were in too much hurry to destroy anything." We got their weapons, their computers, their ships, everything. Wilson nodded. Good, because once they're gone, we need to be ready in case they or anyone else thinks about coming back. The resistance teams worldwide began collecting alien technology. Dr. Miller led the research efforts, combining human science with alien advances. Within days, they had learned more about space travel than humanity had discovered in a century. Look at this, she told Wilson, showing him plans they'd found in alien computers. They've attacked and conquered 32 other worlds. But Earth was different. We're the first planet that ever fought back and won. The last alien ships were preparing to leave Earth's orbit when Commander Wilson made his final move. Using captured alien communication systems, he broadcast a message to not just the retreating fleet, but to the entire galaxy. This is Commander Wilson of Earth's Global Defense Force. To the Dominion and any other species watching, remember what happened here. You came to our world thinking we were weak. You thought your technology made you superior. You were wrong. He paused, looking at the tired but proud faces around him. Earth is not just a planet. It's our home. Every piece of it, from the smallest bacteria to the strongest warriors, fights alongside us. We don't just live here. We are part of this world, and it is part of us. If you come in peace, we will welcome you. If you come for war, you will fail. The alien fleet disappeared into deep space, leaving Earth's sky clear for the first time in months. The war was over. Humanity had won. In the days that followed, the world began to rebuild. But it wasn't going back to how things were before. Humans now had access to advanced alien technology, and they were putting it to good use. Cities were rebuilt stronger than before. Clean energy replaced old power sources. Medicine advanced decades overnight. Captain Taylor led teams that converted alien weapons into tools for construction. Lieutenant Torres used captured alien ships to start Earth's first real space fleet. Dr. Miller's research into combining human and alien science opened new frontiers in every field. 1 month after the victory, Commander Wilson stood in the new Global Defense Headquarters, addressing representatives from every nation. The invasion changed us, he said, but not in the way the Dominion intended. They wanted to break us. Instead, they made us stronger. They wanted to conquer Earth. Instead, they gave us the stars. He pointed to the new ships being built in orbit, visible through the headquarters windows. They were human designs, but enhanced with alien technology. Earth was preparing to take its place among the stars. We've learned 3 important things, Wilson concluded. First, we are not alone in the universe. Second, not everyone out there is friendly. And third, most importantly, humanity will never surrender its home. Earth is our land, and we will always defend it. As the sun set on the first day of Earth's new age, humanity looked to the stars not with fear, but with confidence. They had faced the ultimate test and emerged victorious. The galaxy now knew what the Dominion had learned the hard way: never attack humanity's home.